Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us from a viewer. Thanks to Betaflow for this one. Amy controls an Ugin's Nexus and one other artifact. She uses Masterful Replication to turn that into a copy of Ugin's Nexus. When the legend rule kicks in, she chooses to keep the fake Nexus. After this turn, will Amy get to take an extra turn or not? Okay, so the first thing that I want to notice about this is that Ugin's Nexus, both of its abilities are replacement effects. I think this is worth noticing because a lot of other cards with abilities similar to the second one are worded such that they're triggered abilities. For reference, anytime you see at, when, or whenever, that would be a triggered ability, whereas if you see instead or skip, like on Ugin's Nexus, that means that you're dealing with a replacement effect. There are actually a few other templates that indicate a replacement effect in addition to those common ones. I made a video a few years ago where I went over all of them, and I encourage you to check that out if you'd like to explore that topic in some more detail. For now, let's just reflect on a few of the consequences that second ability being a replacement effect entails. For starters, replacement effects don't use the stack, so there's no way to stifle the extra turn. Another big consequence is that unlike triggered abilities, you're not allowed to allow your opponent to miss a replacement effect. If your opponent sleeps a triggered ability, that's on them, and generally you don't need to remind them. On the other hand, if they miss applying a replacement effect, then you have to tell them. Let's notice that the first replacement effect on Ugin's Nexus applies if a player would begin an extra turn. That means that there's absolutely no problem with creating an extra turn at any time. As long as you don't have that replacement effect around at the point when you're about to begin that extra turn, then you will be able to take it just fine. Of course, Amy's artifact will be a copy of Ugin's Nexus until the end of the current turn, so that's a bit of an unsettling thought. Will that copy effect wear off in time for Amy to get to take her extra turn? In order to answer that, we're going to need to know a little bit about how magic turns are structured. Based on this rule, we can see that the cleanup step normally ends after all of the scheduled actions are completed. And after the cleanup step ends, that's when Amy is going to get to begin her extra turn. So if we take a look at this, we can see that one of those scheduled actions would be for until end of turn effects like Masterful Replications to wear off. This is the answer to our question. During the cleanup step, Amy's artifact will stop being a copy of Ugin's Nexus. After that, she will go to begin her extra turn that was created when her true Nexus got exiled. By that time, there's no replacement effect saying that she can't start that turn, so she will get to take it as normal. One other interesting thing to note, the legend rule only lets you keep one permanent, whereas Masterful Replication will let you make all of your artifacts into copies of Ugin's Nexus. Depending on how many artifacts Amy has accumulated, this combo could net her a whole bunch of extra turns. Use that information for whatever you will. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.